Assalamu alaikum and welcome to our sixth video from our first chapter, number systems. Before we start today's topic, let us recall what we have learned until now. So we started off the chapter by knowing different kinds of numbers. We have learned what are natural numbers, right? So all the numbers that are greater than 0 and all are positive numbers are natural numbers. Then we have something called as whole numbers. Whole numbers are all positive integers or all positive numbers including 0. Integers are all positive numbers, negative numbers including 0. Rational numbers are the numbers that can be written in the form of p by q. We have also seen that all natural numbers come in the category of whole numbers because every natural number is also present in whole numbers. Similarly, all whole numbers are also present in integers and all integers are also present in rational numbers. We have seen how to write every single number in the rational form. Example, if I have a natural number like 2, how do I write this natural number 2 in its rational form? Just like 2 by 1. Or I can have numbers like 3 by 4, 7 by 9. All these are different examples of rational numbers. So then we have some numbers that cannot be written in the form of p by q. Sorry, I don't think there's an arrow required here. All irrational numbers are those numbers that can't be written in the form of p by q. Finally, we have something called as real numbers. Real numbers are a collection of both rational numbers and irrational numbers. So when I say real numbers, all natural numbers, all whole numbers, all integers, all rational numbers, all irrational numbers come under one single category of numbers called as real numbers, and we have seen this in the last class. So let us consider a normal number line. So when I say number line, what kind of numbers are we talking about? So when I say actually the word of this is number line, right? We generally call it as number line. But when I say number, what kind of number? Is it only natural number line, or is it only whole numbers, or only integers, right? So this number line will be called as a real number line. Now what is a real number line? A number line that has all real numbers. What are real numbers? Real numbers can have all natural, whole, integers, rational, irrational, everything together. Example, so a real number line, 0. Is this a real number line? Yes, because 0 is a whole number and all whole numbers are also real numbers. Example 1. 1 is a natural number. But is this a real number line or is it a real number? Yes, because all natural numbers are also real numbers. Let us suppose minus 1. Minus 1, is it a real number? Yes, it is. Because minus 1 is an integer and all integers are also real numbers. Let us suppose I have a number like 3 by 2. Is 3 by 2 a real number? 3 by 2 is a rational number, but all rational numbers are also real numbers. Let us suppose I have a number like root 2. Root 2 is an irrational number. So is it a real number also? Yes, all irrational numbers are also real numbers. We have learned what are real numbers. Real numbers are a collection of all rational numbers and irrational numbers together. So basically a number line in which we have all real numbers are called as is called as a real number line. And what does this line have? It has all natural numbers, also whole numbers, integers, rational numbers, irrational numbers. Everything comes under the same line. So now what we have learned is all real numbers consist of all different numbers that I have written here, isn't it? So basically every single number on this number line is a real number, right? And I have proved how it is a real number, be it a natural number or a whole number or an integer or a rational number or an irrational number. Everything comes under the category of real numbers. That's why every single number here is not only natural, whole, integers, rational or irrational, but they are also simply called as they are also called as real numbers. I hope you have understood what are real numbers. So what I want you to remember is every number on the number line is a real number, and this number line will be called as a real number line, right? Based on this, let us solve some questions from our next exercise first. So there are some true or false statements. and we'll see the reasons for it. So this will be exercise number 1.2, and the first one is true or false with reasons. The first statement is every irrational number is a real number. Every irrational number is a real number. Do you think this is true? Of course it is true. Because the collection of rational numbers and irrational numbers together will be called as real numbers, right? That means all irrational numbers are also real numbers. Therefore, the answer will be true, because the collection of all rational numbers and irrational numbers is called as real numbers. I hope you have understood why all irrational numbers are also real numbers. Now let me go with some other question. Let me call every real number is an irrational number. Every real number is an irrational number. Take 5 seconds and think about this. Can we tell that every real number is an irrational number? And if you think, then what do you think is the reason? It's very important to know the reason. It's just not enough to tell whether it is true or false. So you'll have to also think about the reasons. So take 5 minutes and think about the reason. So the answer will be false. Why do you think every real number cannot be called as an irrational number? Because in irrational number we have something like rational numbers also, right? So rational numbers can be, in real numbers we have something called as rational numbers. Rational numbers are the numbers that can be written in the form of p by q. So we know that all rational numbers are also real numbers. But irrational numbers cannot be written in the form of p by q. So when you can't write irrational numbers in the form of p by q, that means that all irrational numbers cannot be called as real numbers, because real numbers have rational also, integers, natural numbers, whole numbers, everything. So we know that natural numbers can be written as rational numbers in the form of p by q. Then whole numbers also can be written in the form of p by q. Integers also can be written in the form of p by q. And all they are coming in the category of real numbers only. But irrational numbers cannot be written in the form of p by q. That's why they cannot be, so every irrational number cannot be called as a real number, because it does not belong to all the categories. So I'll write the reason as, for example, is a real number but not irrational. What do you think this means? 2 is a real number. How is it a real number? Because 2 is a natural number and all natural numbers are also real numbers. But is it an irrational number? No. Why is it not an irrational number? Because these are the numbers that cannot be written in the form of p by q. So therefore 2 will act as a real number, because all natural numbers are also real numbers. But 2 will not be an example of irrational number, because we can't write 2 in the form of, we can write 2 in the form of p by q. But when it comes to irrational numbers, these are the numbers that cannot be written in the form of p by q. That's why we can't say that every real number is an irrational number. Let us go with one more question. Your third question will be, every point on the number line is of the form root m, where m is a natural number. Let us understand this question before we tell it is true or false. Now I will simply call, there is a number line which is a real number line. What is a real number line? We have learned it few minutes ago. A real number line consists of all natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, rational numbers, irrational numbers. According to this question, they are telling every point, that means everywhere where you write a number, every point on this number line has some number like m. That number can be 1, that number can be 2, that number can be -1, it can be √2, it can be 5/6, it can be any type of number. And they are telling that number is only a natural number. So in a real number line, is it possible that we have only natural numbers? No, right? Along with natural, we can also have whole numbers, integers, rational numbers, irrational numbers also. But according to this question, they are telling this every point or wherever you write the numbers represent only natural numbers, which is a false statement, because along with natural numbers, we can also write a lot of other numbers. So the answer for this will be false. So reason will be because m can be any number but not only natural. So this m can be any number, it can be a whole number, it can be an integer, it can be a rational number, it can be an irrational number, but we can't say that it is only a natural number. That's why the answer for this one will be false. It's very important that when we say something as true and false, we have to give strong reasons to support our answer as well. So now before we move on to the next question, there is something interesting that I want you to know. So if this is the number line, this is 0, 1, 2, -1, -2, etc. And the numbers will continue on all the sides. So if I ask you locate 2 on number line, how will you locate 2 on number line? It is very easy. I can tell, oh, 2 is here and I have located 2 on number line. If I tell locate -1 on number line, you will tell this is -1 on the number line. But if I ask you locate √2 on number line, is there √2 on number line? No, but there is √2 on number line. And in tomorrow's class, before we move on to the exercise questions, we'll learn how to locate numbers such as √2 and √3 on number line. So, and then we'll move on to the exercise. So for today's class, we have learned what are real numbers again in detail. We have also solved some true or false questions. Go through them and let me know if there are any doubts on our Google Classroom app. Thank you very much for watching the video.